Okay guys, here we have an unboxing video. It's a Magellan Roadmate 3055 GPS. If you've been watching some of my vids, you've probably seen my unboxing and review of a Magellan 1444 GPS done probably about 8 months ago. So you cut apart the plastic, get it out of the way, and lift open the flap, and you have all the wonderful instructions and that. Lift that out of the way, you're exposing the GPS itself. You lift up the cover of the box, and you have all your cigarette power supply. You have the suction cup mount for the unit, as well as a USB cord to hook up to your computer for your software updates and other items, articles like that. Now this GPS, it comes with preloaded maps of Canada as well as the United States, and as a bonus it has maps of Puerto Rico as well. This here is the what they call the user handbook. It has kind of instructions and how-tos and tips and stuff. You have a 4.7 inch touchscreen. If you're living in a city that has street names rather than numbers, it'll do the streets by name. If there's a traffic alert, such as an accident or construction or something like that, it'll bring that up. One thing nice about the unit is it has a multi-destination capability. Basically, what that means is you can put in, stops. We'll say A and B and C, and it'll go to those stops. You don't have to keep programming the GPS for each individual, destination. Recently, my province has made cell phones and stuff like that, kind of banned them while you're driving. So they made hands-free kind of the what you're supposed to use. One thing that was attractive about this GPS was it has Bluetooth, which will work with my phone. So you crack into the plastic. Okay, and of course it has the wonderful plastic coating. Rip that off. Pick at this little simulated screen image. Pick that off as well. The unit itself is a little bit bigger than the other Magellan that I did the review on. It's got a gray back as well as the standard black front. It feels that it's a little bit heavier than the other unit though. Just a note before we get too far into it. If you go to www.magellangps.com /content manager, this is where you get all your maps and everything to keep your unit up to date. Now if you're living in an expanded city that keeps growing, chances are this GPS will not have the new areas of your city, because this technology is probably a year old minimum by the time it reaches your hands. And as we all know, in a year, your town can change quite a bit. So go to that site and update the GPS before the first use, and that way you're not running into any roadblocks where you need to get to an address. It tells you it's a vacant area. One thing I've noticed is it has a micro SD card for additional maps and stuff like that. This here is your USB connection, which also doubles as a power supply port. Now when it's plugged into the computer, it does not charge from the computer. It still requires the power from your vehicle. It will not charge hooked up while it's updating the maps. You have your on-off switch up here at the top, and this is the microphone for the Bluetooth. And this is here on the back is the speaker of the unit. Okay, so we'll turn the unit on. And of course it goes to your standard Magellan screen with your little clock face. Does your standard licensing agreement and, you know, copyright stuff. And then after that it goes to the setup. And it wants you to select the language. You have 3 choices. You have English, Spanish, and French. So you hit English and then the check mark. Basically you have the licensing agreement. Basically what it's doing is it wants you to agree not to you know, reverse engineer this or use this for any other purposes than you know, intended, you know, i.e. GPS. So if you agree to that, you hit the agree button. And then it gives you the standard warning, you know, as in most provinces and probably the states as well, they have a ban on using electronic devices while driving. Okay, so you hit your menu button and you have your addresses for, like, you know, you have your address book here. You have point of interest, you have city center, you have a previous to go back, you have your current location. This is here where you enter in your destination address. So you start with the city, and I'm just going to use the current city I'm in. And one thing I like is it has the kind of once you put in a few letters of the word, it kind of guesses what the city name you're trying to put in. I'm going to go for Lloydminster, Alberta. So you hit Lloydminster, Alberta and enter a street name. Well, around here we really don't have a lot of names on our streets. It's mainly numbers, so you hit the 1, 2, 3 button. So you hit address I'm looking for, which is 44th Street. And then you hit your address. If you make a mistake on your address, hit this arrow back, and it's kind of like your backspace key on your keyboard. And yeah, this once you've got it, you hit your check mark, and once you've got your address, you hit the go, and then it brings up your turn-by-turn directions. So it gives you a list of turn-by-turn. It tells you which street to go on. Kind of gives you a bit of a heads up on what the GPS is going to tell you to do. Just say you decide you don't want to go to where you're going, you hit cancel trip, and it says, do you want to cancel your destination? Gives you the option of yes or no. So if you want to cancel, of course you hit yes. Another one in your settings, if you hit down here where you have the wrench and screwdriver, you have map options, sound settings, system setting, navigation preference, keyboard, traffic, GPS option. You can restore all default settings. Just say you bought a used GPS that had the previous owner's preferences in it. You can restore it to the factory, kind of out of box type of thing, right? Okay, so you go down to your address book, press the address book button, you hit the add button, and you can select your feature to add, whether you want intersection, point of interest, address. You hit the address, and you can enter in here basically the same way as you're entering in the coordinates to find the address. After you hit that, you do the check mark. You do the green check mark button. And as well as once you've got the address in your address book, you just scroll down, basically highlighting it, and then you hit the find button, and you don't have to enter it all the time. Just say it's somewhere regularly you go, then that way you don't have to enter it every time you go to find it, right? One thing nice is in the left corner, you've got the current time as well as your miles per hour. Just by hitting your north, your N here, if you're going, you have an older vehicle and you're not quite sure if your speedometer is accurate, you can, that comes in handy. We'll find ourselves an address, and we'll do a road test on the GPS. So you turn the unit on. Again, it goes to your standard Magellan greeting screen. And it goes through your standard warning again, blah 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 blah, don't use this and all this good stuff. And if you've already pre-entered your address at an earlier time, we'll just say setting it up in the house, then it will remember the address, so when you turn it on you can just resume your course. Then that way it saves you time on the road. Or at this time where you can enter your address just like how you were showing in the original setup. Now for this test purpose, we're not going to use the windshield mount for the GPS. We're just going to run with it. So as a test, being it's early in the morning, we're going to do our run to the Horton store. So when you're ready, you just hit the go button, and she starts calculating your route. It's where you are and how to get there. Okay, so let's see how this road test works on this GPS. And as I said, it has turn-by-turn directions if you want to view the map. Just so you're familiar with what the GPS is going to tell you. If you're unfamiliar with what the GPS is going to tell you, then you can always Google and go to the old Google Maps. They're always fairly accurate. So you make your first turn, and you follow the directions. One thing I like, if you do happen, when
turn in 0.5 miles.
One thing I like is if you're in heavy traffic, you know, you always can't get your lane for the turn. Sometimes you misjudge your corner or take the early corner or whatever it may be. Is it does a course correction to get you back to where you need.
Turn in 0.3 miles on TC 16 west.
And basically what this told me here is it wanted me to go up to 50th Ave. Now, being I made a turn, I can't get to that course anymore. So what it's done is it's told me to go to the TC 16th, which basically that means Trans-Canada Highway 16, right? Now, just say I make another wrong turn here, then it'll do another course correction.
Approaching left turn on 49 Avenue, followed by a right turn.
So yeah, basically what I've done is from the original street is I went up a block and then made another right. So all I've really done is I've done a course deviation from the original plan by about a block. Now, instead of having me turn 16, it's having me turn on 49th Ave. Now, just say I were to hang a right instead of a left, I'd hang a right on 49th Ave. Now, rather than heading to Highway 16, I head back to my 50th Street, which was my original route. One thing I like though is when you're about to make a turn, it does that little ding ding arrow. Most of the time it's just ahead of where...
left turn on 48th Street.
See that little arrow sound? Now as you get up to 50th Ave here, it'll do a little ding ding kind of arrow sound. Now that tells you that your corner is coming up real quick. That sound right there. Now most of the time it comes too late, especially in heavy traffic. And of course that's where the old course correction thing comes in handy. You know, in the cities they have the big old freeways and stuff like that where there isn't the, you know, immediate route for you to get back onto where you need to be. Of course the GPS does all the head work, you know, to get you back on course. Providing, of course, you have all the proper updated maps installed.
Destination on the right then, 0.5 miles, 50 Avenue.
And one thing, like as you just heard there, it tells you roughly where the destination is. You know, you keep going. You can kind of have a lookout for it, as well as it will tell you when you get there, you know, destination is on your right hand side, you have arrived, etc. In a small town, you know, a GPS is probably not much of any value because you've kind of grown up here, you know the town. The new areas you are learning, so you know it's not a must. But if you do trips to the city, you're up there every, you know, couple of weekends or so, you do get to know where you're going, so you can find the majority of the places that you go regularly. But there is always that, you know, first time you're there, and of course, you know, you're struggling with a piece of paper that you printed out, you know, off the maps or something, trying to read while driving. While when you're in heavy traffic, that's dangerous, right? So the GPS does take the guesswork out of it and makes it a little easier.
Approaching destination on the right.
So yeah, my destination's right here. This is my Hortons for our morning coffee run.
Approaching right turn on 51 Avenue.
So we swing in here. And then there's the old Hortons. And of course, I've never seen a Hortons not lined up. Okay, so this has been an unboxing, review, and a road test of a Magellan GPS. Now, of course, this is just a beginner's review. Later on, I'll do a full review with some of the accessories and you know, the Bluetooth and stuff like that. As always, guys, thank you for watching Maxwell's World. Comment, subscribe, and enjoy.